What's up, YouTube? This is going to be our guide on how to use Grimmsnarl in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing competitive movesets and some fun meme movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below in the comment section of the video and drop a like if you enjoy it and you find it insightful. Alright, let's have a look. So Grimmsnarl is a very decent Pokemon. You'll see this on a lot of teams, whether you're playing singles or doubles. It is the ultimate support Pokemon. So let's have a look at its stats. So on paper, it really doesn't look the greatest, in my opinion. It really doesn't. But it's got pretty much everything it needs to do its role. So it's got the abilities Prankster, Frisk, and Pickpocket. So most of the time, you're going to be seeing it using Prankster ability, right? And it learns so many good status moves. So most of the time, I don't think you're ever going to see it not use Prankster. Sometimes it might have Frisk, but Pickpocket is just a gimmick on it, so we might have to do a set on that. We'll see. Okay, so the first set you're probably going to see a lot, or you've already seen it, whether you're playing singles or doubles, is going to be a Grimmsnarl dual screen set, right? Now, this Pokemon has got Dark and Fairy typing, which is good typing, and it learns Reflect and Light Screen. So with Prankster, which is going to give priority to it, it's going to be able to get those screens up before you can even attack, which is going to make it bulky, right? So it's going to make these subpar sort of bulk very, very bulky, right? So the idea for this Pokemon is to get a Reflect and Light Screen up here. So once it's got that up, it typically either will just swap out with something like Parting Shot or Swap, or it will attack you with something like Spirit Break. Spirit Break is the main move that it generally always has. It's a very physical type move there, and it's got a 100% chance to drop your special attack. So if you're a special attacker, and this thing's got a light screen up already, and it just hit you with Spirit Break, you're going to be doing donkey's amounts of damage. So now, there's a couple of moves you can run on a Grimmsnarl for a support set. It's got so many, right? I want to go over all of them. So I don't mind an anti-Grimmsnarl set here with Imprison. You can do that. So what Imprison does, if you have certain moves and you use this move, then the opponent can't use those same moves. So it's sort of like a counter set, right? It's like a hyper counter set. Another very popular move on there is Parting Shot. Simply, you still get priority on there. So you set Reflect up, you set Light Screen up. Or you don't even have to set both up, right? Let's say you don't even have to set both up. You feel like the opponent's got a very physical heavy team, and they've just swapped in a physical set. You can set Reflect up and go for Parting Shot and leave Light Screen for later. Parting Shot's great because it drops the opponent's attack and special attack. So it's just constantly stacking, dropping the opponent's stats and making your team bulky, right? So ultimate setup Pokemon, and it can be annoying to get around. The only thing about it can be worn down. That's its only weakness. So it's going to set up the screens. Try and feint it before it sets the screens up again. That's going to be your sort of goal there. Another move it can learn as well, and it has this commonly, especially at the start, is Taunt. So if you want to set up any entry, has a Sticky Web, Stealth Rock, you're going to get countered because this thing is going to have a Taunt here too. So sort of just be mindful when you see a Grimmsnarl. 99.9% of the time, it's going to set up screens, and then it's going to swap out or use Parting Shot. If it doesn't use Parting Shot, it's going to have Taunt. That's mostly how it works. And then its other filler move will be Spirit Break, so it can't be Taunt by. Now, you've got Light Clay on there too. That's going to extend Light Screen and Reflect to last 8 turns instead of 5. It commonly has the item. Very, very common for it. And it's built, I would say most of the time it's going to be built very defensively. So we've got Max Health and Max Defense, Impish Nature, right? Dropping a special attack. So it's going to be defensively bulky. The Stellar, I would run Steel on there. It's the best defensive type, and it's going to be very, very good for Grimmsnarl for sure. Like, it can't be poison, right? It's got to be handy too, right? It's going to, fairy type moves. It's going to be resistant. So, it's going to be very, very nice to get that Terra. If you need to Terra it, I personally probably wouldn't Terra Grimmsnarl. There's going to be better options on your team. But if you have to, if you really need those screens up, you've got to go for a Desperation Terra just to get them up, then, so be it. So you'll see this set a lot in singles, in doubles. It is everywhere. And it's very good at its role. It can virtually always, get those screens up. That's why I like that Imprison set. I thought that'd be interesting little counter there. All right, the next one we got here is supporting pivot set. So as I mentioned, Grimmsnarl gets 1,000,000 support moves, which are really, really good. This one is just going to be there to be a nuisance to the opponent, right? Just a big nuisance. So same sort of EVs. Bold Nature, we'll put Impish on this one. Sorry, I didn't need to put Bold on this. So we got Impish Nature. Now, this is a little bit different because we've got Trick on here. So this gets Trick, which is a very, very good move. So you could be annoying and trick items like Lagging Tail to a very speedy Pokemon, right? And then you can, you know, trick their item and then dip out and drop their stats. You know, it's going to be just a painful sort of experience, right? So Lagging Tail, you know, if you give that to a fast Pokemon, it dumps them into the priority, like last priority bracket when they use attacking moves. So it's a good troll item, for example. You know, there's some good troll items out there. Lagging Tail is one of them. Now, Parting Shot's good on that. Usually it'll always have Spirit Break. I've seen a few have Draining Kiss and stuff like that, but usually will have Spirit Break because it just works very well with most any Grimmsnarl set. And also gets Thunder Wave too. Thunder Wave is a common move that Grimmsnarl will have too. So priority Prankster, boom, you know, Thunder Wave. I guess the only thing it has to watch out for is when there's Dark type Pokemon. So if you're wondering, oh, how can I, you know, how can I get, you know, around these stupid Grimmsnarl? If you got a Dark type, it's going to be immune to stuff like, you know, those Prankster moves. So that's what you have to worry about. However, it'll have Spirit Break though, so it's, you know, difficult to get around. The best thing to do to a Grimmsnarl is just wear it down with damage, right? So so it can't set its screens up again, and that's gonna be the big thing. It's virtually just gonna set screens up and be a pain in the backside for the whole battle. So if you see it, get rid of it as soon as possible because it's just going to keep coming back again, setting screens up, paralyzing Pokemon, Parting Shot, tricking troll items, you know, stuff like that. That's what it does. That's what it's best at, and it's got great typing, and it's got... it's actually... Once those screens are not up, though, it's very vulnerable then to taking big amounts of damage because it's not that bulky, really, when you look at it, even if you build it defensive. Like... But if I was to attack it, most of them do build, most people do build defensive, so I'd hit it up with a special move. Or what you can do, a good thing to get around it as well, is mix attackers can get through it. They can break through it too. Say if you know they're going to set up a Reflect or Light Screen, then go for the opposite move first, right? Or you can even try and set up on it too, so that would, you know, at least make up for the Reflect or Light Screen going up. So that's how I would, you know, get around that. Let's have a look at the double VGC style stuff. So as you can probably expect, Grimmsnarl works pretty similar as it does in singles. It's very, very good at setting screens up for sure. So this one is virtually the same. However, we got a little bit of all-round bulk here. The reason I did that is because I want this to be all-round bulky rather than just, you know, defensively bulky. That way, it's going to be able to adapt to what Pokemon are on the field. So let's say we've got special attackers. We can, you know, put the light screen up first. And then, you know, if there is a physical attacker, it's still going to have enough bulk there. And here I've optimized the EVs to its fullest so you can get the most out of everything. So we've got 244 in health. We got 148 in defense, and we got 116 in special defense with Careful Nature. Now, this gives it great all-round bulk, and it's still got a lot of health as well. And we've got Reflect Light Screen, Parting Shot. Same as the other set, virtually, just different EVs. Now, the difference here, too, is Terra Ghost. I like running Terra Ghost on these sort of sets because it makes it immune to annoying stuff like Fake Out, right? So you probably think, oh, well, Prankster's going to go... Well, Prankster won't go first with Fake Out, so you've got to make sure you've got a counter to that, right? And, you know, if you want to set up Reflect first, you got to make sure, like maybe you go Terra Ghost and then set Reflect up. That way you can counter the incoming Fake Out, right? So that's a good way of getting around that. If you really want to get your screens up with Grimmsnarl. So, yeah, it's a great set. It's going to work. It's going to be, like, it really hasn't, I'll be honest, Grimmsnarl really hasn't changed too much since Sword and Shield. It has, there's not too much, I don't think it's got too much else. Like, it had virtually everything it needed then, except maybe Terra, you know, that could benefit it a bit. But it hasn't changed too much since then. It still does the same thing, and it does this role very, very well. So that's a good sort of screen set. Let's have a look at another style set here. This is more of a troll set. So this one, It does get fake out as well. We've got a little bit of a different EVs here, but still we're looking at a support annoying sort of set here. So this one is a fake out user, so it's going to be good with fake out. It's going to be flinching opponents, and with Grimmsnarl, always use it. Always use it with an ally that's either hyper offensive or really hyper offensive, because you got the screens to cover for it. And I'll give some examples and stuff as the video goes on, but use it with a hyper offensive Pokemon that's going to do a lot of damage. Let it worry about setting the screens up, spreading the status, while your other, offensive Pokemon does all the damage. That's usually the best way to go about it. So this one's got Fake Out. It's got Covert Cloak as well, so it's immune to any secondary effects. So you're able to get other moves off there. I know that seems a bit funny with Prankster, but there are moves that can get around that or go, before that. So we've got Fake Out and Thunder Wave, Spirit Break, you'll find on every set, and Parting Shot. Not too much different. And Terra type Steel on this one. I still feel like that's going to be good to Ghost or Steel. So pretty similar sets there. A little bit of a different EV spread. I mean, you could use this EV spread as well. They're pretty similar. I was just trying to go for a little bit of a different optimization, but in fact, they're pretty similar. So you could use, you could use these two, or this one, or this one. So whatever. You can squeeze. I was just trying to squeeze the most EVs out of, I was like, oh, I can get another EV in this, in the defense over a special defense if I don't do this. So I was just trying to squeeze out the EVs there, trying to, make them kind of even, especially for a reflect and light screen user. So that's the double sets there. If you got anything else to add to that, let me know. But honestly, that's what Grimmsnarl does best. It doesn't really do too much else than that. I'm trying to think of some other... It could have Misty... You can actually set Misty Terrain as well, but then you don't want to be running stuff like Thunder Wave then. So it can do... Just one. Let's get rid of this for a second. It can do Misty Terrain. Now, this can be good if you're versing a team that's heavy with Misty Terrain, so with status, and Misty Terrain can block them. And then you can opt for something like Misty Seed. Misty Seed is going to give you a special defense increase as well. So that could work as well. But this is more niche stuff in my opinion compared to the screens, right? But you could have Misty Terrain and Misty Seed giving it some extra special defense. So you could use that to get around any annoying status, right? If you don't like status, this could be a great Pokemon for you, right? So with Misty Terrain, so just another little option there I thought I'd mention. And you can give yourself a free special defense rise too. Now with Grimmsnarl, I have to say this set, because this is more of a single set, but this actually isn't too bad. I've used this before. I've swept a lot. I've swept many opponents with it. It's a little bit. It's gimmicky, but it still definitely does work. So it's a bulky sweeper, right? Bulky physical sweeper. So what we've got here, if we've got Bulk Up. So Bulk Up is a great move for Pranksters. That instantly gives it a +1 in attack and defense. And you've got Spirit Break. So Bulk Up and Spirit Break together are really, really good, because not only you're increasing your attack and defense, you're also using a physical move that's boosted by Bulk Up, and you're dropping special attack too, which gives you all-round bulk, which really, really suits slow setup Pokemon, especially in singles. Now, this could definitely work with Rest and Sleep Talk. So we've got Rest and Sleep Talk here. And that works well with Prankster too. So you can go Prankster Rest, right? Heal yourself up. Then you can go Prankster Sleep Talk, and you can get an attacking move there. So you can essentially give yourself priority for an attacking move, right? So that's going to be really, really good, especially if you've got even 1 or 2 bulk ups. It's going to be really, really nice. Now, I've given it max special defense because I don't really have a way to boost its special defense. So we built that up pretty nicely. However, it's got a good amount of health, but it still could be hit pretty hard by a special move. So I gave it Moringa Berry. So Moringa Berry, once it gets hit by a special attack, it's going to give it a single boost in special defense. So an additional special defensive boost. And then you don't even have an item as well. So, that could be beneficial as well. So that gives you some very, very nice special defensive bulk. So obviously this Pokemon is designed, once you swap it in, you start setting up with it. You keep setting up and you sweep the team, right? So mid to late game sweeping, when you sort of know what the opponent's team is all about, suss them out. That's why I called it sleep and sweep. And I can guarantee you'll get a sweep with this in singles. Guarantee. You just need maybe a little bit of support on your team, but It's very, very... The problem is it's very, very hard to stop because you're already defensively bulky, and if you try and attack it with a special attacker, well, if I go first with rest, go sleep talk and get spirit break, well, I've already dropped your special defense by 1 stage, right? And then you've suddenly, if you haven't activated the Moringa Berry, then suddenly that gets activated, and then suddenly you're doing no damage, and then suddenly Grimmsnarl is one-shotting you, it's going to sleep again, getting its health back, you can't status it. Things like that. A counter would be a dark type Pokemon, but then you could just straight up use Spirit Break without even going to sleep or doing it. So it counters that too. So an interesting thing there. Definitely a great singles Pokemon to sweep. I'm not saying it's without its counters because it definitely is, but very, very good under the right circumstances for sure. I gave that one Terra Fairy because it's virtually just gonna power up Spirit Break there. And Fairy is a very good type in itself. So there you go, something to maybe try it if you haven't already. Pipnite Special, and then we're going to discuss some counters, teammates, etc. like that. So Pipnite Special, this Pokemon actually does get Nasty Plot, so you can go Prankster Nasty Plot and get a +2 in special attack. So we got a special attacking set too. So this one's designed to be under Trick Room. So we've got Nasty Plot, we've got Dark Pulse for flinching. We've got Draining Kiss for that big suck and that damage. And we've got Big Root too to get your health back. And we've got the Mighty Metronome. So we can go Prankster, Metronome, and attack. Even when we're not under a Trick Room. But we can get Fissure and Horn Drill and special attacking moves like you wouldn't believe. So a fun set to go for. And I gave it Terra type Stellar too. So if you've got a Trick Room Pokemon, you can set this up and go for it. It could be even if it wasn't under Trick Room, this could still be okay for sure. You just probably wouldn't get the benefit of getting flinches and stuff like that. But you still get the benefit of getting your health back with Draining Kiss, in fact, because you'd be going second, taking damage, and then getting your health back. So it could be a fun set to use. A bit of fun. I'll always like to do different sort of sets and fun sets. Let's have a look now at some sort of like teammates and counters and stuff like that. Let's chat about that a little bit and have a look at some other sets. So some good Pokemon here. Let's go Dragonite, because Dragonite is an excellent Pokemon for setting up. So especially with those screening sets, dual screen sets, right? Once you get them set up, you can Parting Shot and go straight into something like Dragonite, right? Dragonite then can proceed to set up Dragon Dance, and then it's going to have those screens up and sweep the rest of the team, right? That's how to use Grimmsnarl effectively, right? Get its screens up, drop the opponent's stats, and swap out. And do its role, and as you use it properly, it's going to be really good for sure. So any hyper-offensive Pokemon or setup Pokemon, what's another? Like Quiver, like Volcarona, right? Volcarona. Let's use that as an example. Same sort of thing, right? Screens up, sweeping Pokemon, done. All right, that's virtually how to use it effectively. So whether you're playing singles or doubles, it works. It's going to work both ways, right? So that's how you go about doing that. You can use pivoting Pokemon as well with it. I'm trying to think of something. We got like Volt Switch. How about Rotom? How about Rotom Wash? Rotom Wash is not a bad pivot for this Pokemon at all. It can use Volt Switch, and it works well with something like Parting Shot too, and screens, and it's already got quite good natural bulk as well. 107 there. It's got pretty good bulk, and any pivoting Pokemon work well. U-turn, Scissor, U-turn, U-turn, Flip Turn, Volt Switch. Any Pokemon like that are going to be rather nice. Any setup sweepers are going to be nice too. Another like Garchomp, like doubles. Another Pokemon's going to work is Garchomp. That's going to set up Sword Dance behind screens. You've got Goldengo as well. That's going to be very good too. Like there's a really good bunch of Pokemon there that are going to work. Like so you guys can understand that, right? You know what's going on there. Anything else for counters? So I would say Corviknight's a pretty good counter. Corviknight's not a bad counter as well. So, Defog, right, can remove them screens, right? That's going to be handy. We've got a defogging Pokemon. That could be good. And you've also got it be able to have steel type moves. So if it's got a steel type move, it can threaten Grimmsnarl with that. So once its screen's removed, it's like I said, you look at its stats, it's pretty vulnerable. It's not bulky really at all. It's not bulky by any means. It's only bulky when it has reflect and light screen up. And once it's not, it's very, very vulnerable. So Corviknight's not a bad Pokemon. Any Pokemon that can remove screens. Now, for example, a move like, hang on, like, you know, Brick Break and Psychic Fangs, those sort of moves as well are going to be very, very beneficial to getting, you know, rid of screens and stuff like that. How about we use something like, how about low? Yeah. Okay, low kicks. Okay, so say you've got, I'm just using low kicks again. Say you've got a move like Brick Break or Psychic Fangs. These can actually get rid of the screen. These can destroy the screens. So if you've got any moves like that, that's going to be useful. If you really don't like versing, you know, screen Pokemon, that could be another thing as well. But yeah, Psychic Fangs is another one to use, and there's quite a few good Pokemon that can learn that as well. Dragapult's not a bad one there as well, but it is a Dragon type, so you do have to worry about that. But any Pokemon with Psychic Fangs can get around that. Well, Brick Break, of course, not Psychic Fangs, but you've got other options like Brick Break. Say if you had another screen Pokemon, Psychic Fang, that isn't a dark type, but Brick Break would be good for there. Just in general, right, getting around screens and stuff like that. So some other options here. I think I've sort of given... I've given some teammates. I've given some counters. I always like to do like teammates and counters and stuff like that. I mean, even Goldengo is a good counter. Is a pretty good counter as well, because like that's gonna hit Grimmsnarl really, really hard. And if you say it, okay, Goldengo, then you got a Grimmsnarl. The first thing this is gonna do is it's either gonna set up light screen, right? So you can instantly just set up Nasty Plot, right? Straight away, and then the next turn, you know, and then just take it out the next turn. So that's a good counter for it as well. For sure, and its ability is really, really, really good too. So he doesn't have to worry about you know, Thunder Wave and other things like that. So there's that too. Anything else for teammates? Urshifu would make a good teammate, of course. Urshifu Rapid Strike, that'll make a very good teammate. As well, even like as a non-setup Pokemon, just straight up damaging Pokemon are going to work nicely there. Incineroar is going to be really good as well. Works well with Parting Shot, Intimidate, and this thing on the screens is quite bulky too. It's going to be a pain. Another and more frail Pokemon too, like Fluttermane, especially on its weak defensive side. You know, with a Reflect Up, this Pokemon then becomes a lot more bulky and is actually able to leave some attacks in and completely demolish your team. So Pokemon like that, right, that aren't always going to be able to stick around, like Glass Cannon Pokemon, they're going to be very benefited from that. Let's have a quick look at Grimmsnarl. I don't know if it's Mega or ever. I don't know whether the Dynamax Pokemon will ever come back in the game. I don't think so. What do you guys reckon? I don't think they will. So here's its status moves. Let's have a look at them all real quick. So we got Bulk Up. We're going over that with Light Screen. Nasty Plot. There's a bit of gimmicky stuff there. Parting Shot, very, very good. I've gone over Arrest, Sleep, Talk, Reflect. We've already talked about that. Taunt, Thunderwave. Every move, nearly every one of these moves is really good on Grimmsnarl. It's got everything, right? You can do like a fun imprison, like an anti-imprison set. That could be interesting. It does get swagger and other interesting things like that as well. You could do like, I don't know, swagger and how about you could do something like Prankster Swagger and then Mirror Herb as well, so you could boost your attack 2 stages. I don't know, just something fun you could try out. I was just thinking you could go for that since it does get Prankster. Yeah, and if you're doing a Metronome battle, this Pokemon got that Prankster Metronome. It's a great Metronome Pokemon. And you've got some other interesting things like Fake Tears and stuff, but mainly these sort of moves here, they're going to be the ones you're going to be using the most here. Let's have a look at this. It has a lot of good physical moves. Don't get me wrong, it has a lot of them. So you could definitely do like a bulk up, like a bulk up set, a bulk up with like Drain Punch. Actually, matter of fact, let's do that now. So it does get bulk up. And then you could give it like 4 attacking moves. So Drain Punch is good for recovering your health. Then you've got something like Spirit Break, which is good. And then its other signature move is False Surrender. So this is a dark type move. It's like a dark type version of Aerial Ace, virtually. So there is that. So you got some pretty good coverage with a Fairy type move and a Fighting type move there as well. That could definitely work. And you can even put, if you really want priority, you could put Sucker Punch on there. Like something like that, right? That could actually work. So I definitely give this one attack. Throw everything into attack. Now, it depends. Like, you could throw everything into health if you wanted to. That could work as well for singles. Or you may wanna put something into its special defense there to make it a little bit bulk. I like overall bulk if I'm doing bulk up sets. That's just me personally. A great item for this would be Leftovers. So Prankster bulk up, and then you sort of got these attacking moves here. As for Terra, Terra would be interesting. As for Terra, you could have Fairy. You could go really bold and have Fighting, and that would enable you to really get your health back with Drain Punch, but I'd only recommend that after getting a lot of bulk ups happening. And you're still very, very vulnerable on the special side there. Or you could go Terra Dark as well. So you go like a Temu King Toilet, or King Gambit, right? And you go Cycle Punch. But that's something else you could try and use with that too. I just thought I'd mention that because it does, bulk up's pretty good on Grimmsnarl. And some of his physical stuff. So, does get Body Press. Not really that great on it. It gets a lot of good elemental punch moves. It's not that it's bad on it. It's just it's outclassed by the Prankster screen set. So not many people will use like a full-on physical offensive, pure physical offensive set there. You can even boost its speed with Trailblaze. There you go. But yeah, so that's his physical moves. And special, special here. We haven't had a look at that. It's got very, very little special moves. So that's why the nasty plot set I thought would make a fun one to use. So interesting gets Chilling Water. I don't know why. And then we got Dark Pulse, Dazzling Gleam, Draining Kiss, and Focus Miss, and some other moves like that. If you want to do a Pimp Night special, you could go Pickpocket and Focus Sash. So you could get like, I don't know, like a pickpocket. So with pickpocket, how that works, right? If the Pokemon doesn't have an item and it gets hit by a contact move, it actually steals the opponent's item. So a good item with pickpocket is Focus Sash, or a consumable item. So Focus Sash, Citrus Berry, Red Card, Eject Button, things like that, right? They're gonna work. So that could be something interesting you could try there for sure. With Pickpocket or whatever. But I don't think anyone's going to run Pickpocket at all, maybe except me. Anyway, everyone, hope you enjoyed this set. So Grimmsnarl, an excellent setup support screening Pokemon, does its role beautifully. It hasn't changed a lot since Sword and Shield. It's very, very good at its role. If you want to get around it, just wear it down. That's its weakness, wearing it down. It doesn't really have any recovery, so... yeah, and hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, drop a like there. Drop a comment, see what Pokemon you want me to do next. Check out the playlist. I've done lots of them already, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.